That's right, it's time for another pull list. We're looking ahead. We've just gotten our books and we're looking ahead to November 25th to see what's coming out next week on New Comic Book Day. I have a shocking twist. I have 2 DC books and no indies on my green lights list? I don't know what's happening. Check it out and find out what's going on. That's right. I don't have any indies that I am green lighting this week. I have a bunch of yellows and a bunch of possible choices, but for me, it's a Marvel DC week, which doesn't happen very often, so we're going to relish in the mainstream of it all by starting off with Marvel, and my, of course, 3 picks are going to be the end issues, the finale. It's almost over, the last 3 issues of Ten of Swords. We're going to be ending this, in my opinion, really enjoyable read with the first book is X-Men 15. The X-Men has been a really great read all along as sort of this sort of mix and match of the whole X universe. It's not a through solid one storyline kind of comic. Instead, it bits and pieces it captures from other X titles and fills in the pieces of the important events. This is issue 15. I will say I really dig the Momoko cover. There's always a bunch of great covers for the X-Men issues, but I think if I can get that one, that's pretty awesome. I'm not in love with most of the other covers. There's a lot of like battle covers and things. I'm not loving most of that, but the Momoko one did speak to me. That's a pretty solid cover. Next would be Excalibur 15. This Excalibur has been a huge part of Ten of Swords because this all otherworld universe where all the battles are taking place, all Excalibur related stuff, the Captain Britain's Corps and all that kind of thing. If that stuff is interesting to you, this is going to be a huge event for you. If not, that could be something that turned people off. This has not been what people thought it would be, which is our team versus their team. No, it's been a woman in the background manipulating these games. We had arm wrestling? What? We had marriages in the Ten of Swords? This has gotten crazy. I'm curious to see where it goes from here. Issue 15 of Excalibur has a Laraz connecting variant, so that's a really cool looking one. And if you want, I'll jump us now over to the final issue of Ten of Swords is going to be Ten of Swords Destruction issue 1, the final piece. And there's a Laraz variant connecting for that. So if you want to get the 2 connecting variants, they should drop together. I don't know if that's a comic shop thing or if it's an online thing, but those are cool, as always. Connecting variants can be a lot of fun. I will say Destruction has a ton of covers. I didn't care for those Excalibur covers a bunch, but the Ten of Swords Destruction covers are really great. There's a Magic cover. She's looking cool. I think that the artist did a very Momoko style here, but it doesn't matter because there's a Momoko cover that's pretty cool. I just feel like in general the covers for this final issue, because it's the final issue, I think are getting a lot of hype. And there's a ton of them out there, a ton of variants. I will say the one that I love the most is this Ryan Stegman cover. Jean and Cyclops in battle poses, Jean with their crazy light coming out of her eyes, all these monsters all around them. Come on, that's just cool. That leaves one other Marvel book. I'm getting Daredevil issue 24, of course. Chip Zdarsky's run has been iconic. It's going to probably stand toe-to-toe with some of the great Daredevil runs. Miller, Bendis, Brubaker, Wade. So I am looking forward to another issue. This one is the verdict, right? Daredevil's on trial for murder. He thinks he may have actually committed a murder in protecting the city. What's going to happen when he's on trial for murder? Is he going to get off or is he going to get sent to jail? Who knows? So the verdict comes down here on issue 24 of Daredevil. I don't see any variants, so that's the only one I got. That's the 4 green lights from Marvel. I know there's other books from Marvel, but nothing else interests me. And I don't even have any yellow lights at Marvel. But let's get over to DC and see what I got over there. All right, I got two DC books, which is weird because I think I've had 1 DC book in the last 2 weeks. Now I got 2 here in 1 week. Mostly it's because I'm getting this detective comics now. I've been enjoying reading Batman again. It's been so long since I've been reading Batman. I think it's partly the nostalgia of it, but this has been a very enjoyable read. The storyline of the Mirror and sort of this villain who wants to unmask all the heroes of Gotham. I've been enjoying it a lot. The artwork is really good. The plot is very interesting. It's very psychological, and there's some fun mystery to it all. And it's fracturing the Bat family a little bit, which is always exciting to see how they all react. Bermejo got the great cover. I love the variants from Bermejo. I pretty much get those every time. This one looks great, him behind the wheel with the pink lighting. I dig it. I'm in. The other book I'm getting is Last Gods, issue 10. I can't believe this is coming to the end. I think there's only going to be 12 issues in this first arc, and I don't know if they'll ever get another arc. This is issue 10. There's only one cover. The artwork has been amazing. The story has been wild. Very dark, very violent, very powerful fantasy story. It's I keep saying it, best drawn book I'm picking up each month. And that includes, I love Die and the artwork in Die, but Last God, Riccardo Federici is amazing. Just absolutely incredible. This book is immaculate. It is just a beautifully drawn comic. He has a great style of pacing, and the use of panels is very unusual. And then, of course, the actual detail work and coloring is also just spectacular. So I can't recommend this one enough. That's going to be wrapping up my DC picks. So that's Marvel, that's DC. I got 6 books, guaranteed green lights. So what's going on with indies? Why am I not picking up a bunch of indies like usual? Let me run you down the list. So there are always a bunch of indies coming out. There are a couple of number 1s, but in truth, I wasn't terribly interested in any of them. There's a lot of number 2s and 3s dropping as well, but I have not loved any of the number 1s for those. So it's kind of a lot of yellow light stuff that we'll just kind of see when I'm in the shop. I know first up, a lot of people loved Department of Truth. I read issue 1. I'm not super into the conspiracy theories, hey, they're real kind of a thing. I don't know that I want to read more of that. But I hear people are loving this book. I'll say the variant cover is gorgeous, really, really cool. I may end up reading this in a trade when Image does the $9.99 trade. I might just try it out. But for right now, I'm not ready for more conspiracy theory wacko stuff. I just would rather not have more of that in my life right now. There's a monstrous Tales of Stories. I don't want to call it a one-shot because it's technically a 2-shot, a mini-series that takes place between the 5th and 6th arcs of Monstrous. So this is going to be the first issue in this new mini-series. So if you're a Monstrous fan and you're waiting for January when new issues start dropping, this is going to hopefully tide you over. I'm not fully caught up on Monstrous. I'm on Trade Volume 3, so I'm pretty far behind. But for Monstrous fans, something for you to pick up. And lastly, from Image is Philadelphia, issue number 10. I loved the first volume. I'm reading this in trade, and I have not been disappointed. It's been really, really great. Issue 10 looks really cool. I love cover A, but cover B is J. Scott Campbell. So there's a J. Scott Campbell variant for Philadelphia. Philadelphia fans are going to be going crazy for this. I'm just telling you right now, J. Scott Campbell and Philadelphia combined, I know people are going to be all about this variant. So keep an eye out for it if you're a Philadelphia fan. But I'm definitely trade reading this. It's been a very entertaining vampire read. I like the idea, the use of, American history. I think is kind of cool. So I'm definitely going to keep reading this one. I'm just not getting the individual issues. So that's a trade waiter for me. A new Usagi Yojimbo storyline started. There's a ton of cool variants for it. I'll flip through a few right here. What a samurai bunny. Who doesn't like samurai bunnies? Come on. The art style is classic. Stan Sakai is super talented, also super, super nice. So I just really recommend it for people who have never tried Usagi Yojimbo. This is a perfect jumping on point. Try it out. See what you think. It's very lighthearted, but also really clever. The layouts and the design are really fun. They're easy to read. and generally really enjoyable. That leaves one last yellow light book for me. It's an Aftershock book. I've been enjoying Aftershock a lot lately. I feel like they've got a bunch of fun titles, and if you aren't an Aftershock fan, you should try a few of them because I think you might discover something like We Live that is a fun, unusual story with some really cool artwork. This week, issue number 1 of a book called Kaiju Score. If you don't know what a kaiju is, they're like the giant monsters. Think of like Godzilla, right? Mothra. These giant monsters, radiation-enhanced monsters. So in this case, it's about people trying to pull off a heist, but they've got to get past a kaiju before they can get the items that they're stealing. So it's a sort of sci-fi heist comic. If that sounds interesting to you, I don't know the creative team involved, so I can't vouch for any of them, but I'm definitely going to flip through it, and if the artwork is good enough, this could be my green light book that I end up grabbing as an indie this week. Because as I said, indies for me, pretty light this week. I'm not going to grab a bunch of them. So that leaves 6 guaranteed green lights, a couple of yellow lights. Let me know, as always, what are you picking up? Because I love hearing your comments. It helps me figure out stuff that I might want to start adding to my poll list as well. Thank you all for hanging out with us. And remember, we're doing the Tag Team Thursday here. That means you might have just been coming to my channel from Just a Rican and his comics. And from here, you can jump over to Old Wolf's channel. I'll probably be dropping the link right now in the chat. But every Thursday, we're going to tag team, triple threat you from one to the other to the next. So you can get 3 awesome shows in one solid block on Tag Team Thursday. Thank you all for hanging around, and I'll see you next week for another poll list.